Hello. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 20 of the Inches and Cubes podcast, your Toronto-based Warhammer 40k podcast. As always, it's me, your host tonight, Point and Click Nick.
Me, Mr. Fist Paul Fowler.
Don't hurt yourself. It's me, Adam, the truest axe.
Stay tuned for this musical break. And we're back. Tonight we are telling a story as old as time of knights in shining armor, grinding the poor under their heels and providing them protection from the dangers of heresy and others.
Just other bits of the Imperium that didn't get the mail.
Space feudalism.
Aliens, just the whole thing.
Imperial Knights, the Quester Imperialis or the Quester Mechanicus, because as we'll discuss later, there are two separate factions within a faction, because that happens a lot.
Might as well. I mean, it would be crazy if they tried to give you two codexes out of this model range. Open the IPA first.
All right.
Actually, no, do your gross thing.
Maybe I'll wash it down.
So I got a white space heat. It's from Mill Street, which is not a craft brewery, but I didn't realize that it was Mill Street until after I bought it.
That's fine.
So this is a blood orange and chamomile something. Just blood orange chamomile beer. I guess it's wheat beer?
Yeah, it says wheat.
Yeah. Okay, well.
Did they get bought?
Yeah.
By who?
Probably Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Sapporo.
Also, I apologize for the audio quality. I forgot a card, so we're doing it off my iPhone, and I would love it if people would stop hitting the table.
Trying our best.
I know, your best is just not doing it for me right now. But
We could put it on the
That's nice.
it's okay.
I like that. And it's not even like a Rattler. It's a full 5%.
It's perfectly fine.
Yep.
Like, if I were downtown at, I don't know, Worst or Beer Market or someplace where the waitresses don't get to choose what they wear, I'd order this. But it's just
Is that true at worst?
probably. I don't know. I haven't been there in forever.
Yeah, that's fair. I've never been there. Always wanted to go.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, Imperial Knights. Doing super cool.
Yep. It's also a quick one because there's like 10 units in the Codex.
Well, it won't be a quick one because we have a lot of games to talk about.
Well, we're not going to talk about all of them.
We're not going to talk about all of our games?
No. Because we're doing...
Okay.
All right, well, go for it.
Let's start off with Hobby Desk.
Yeah.
I got nothing. Wait, do I? Yeah, I got nothing.
All right, what do you got on your hobby desk, my dude?
Yeah, so flashing on the screen right now, I did my Wild West Exodus stuff. It's almost done. Pretty excited about that. Just clear it off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And then since the last see, doing 2 weeks is hard to remember, isn't it? I finished lots of Tau things.
No, we talked about that in the last one.
Well, they're finished now.
Okay.
Yes. I was in the middle of the long grind. Almost finished them all, but now they are all finished. So 4 hammerheads, 40 infantry, Battlesuit Commander, an Ethereal, and
Cool.
I think that's it. Three marksmen.
An Ethereal must have, like, just gone by so quick after 40 infantry.
Yeah. 40 Tau Fire Warriors. They're all in the, almost the exact same pose.
I'd lose my mind. I would lose my mind.
Well, guess what? I got 110 more.
Oh, frig.
Okay.
So yeah, I can't afford to lose my mind at 40.
No. You just got to do 43 times again.
That's it.
Yep.
Oh. But that's why it's nice to do a little project like a Wild West Exodus warband or something like that. And I got a Blood Bowl, not a Blood Bowl. The soccer one. Shoot.
Soccer?
Guild Ball.
I have no idea what you're talking
What the
about.
frig is Guild Ball?
It's like a miniature wargaming soccer. It's like Blood Bowl but soccer.
So, okay. I'm not just going to leave that.
Do players have a charisma score to fake injuries?
Yeah, I've been watching the World Cup at work. It's so bad.
Is it?
Is this like your first time you've discovered soccer?
I'd never watched soccer. Like the
Oh.
last time I watched soccer would be the last World Cup, which is what, 2 years ago? Is it every 2 years? 4 years. See, that's
Yeah,
the last
it
time I
was
saw one, and I
yeah.
forgot how bad it was.
4 years?
Like the game goes by, it's 90 minutes, and there's like one goal scored, and you're like,
Okay,
there's
well,
been 18 shots on goal this entire game.
it's a fun game.
No,
it's
it's
fun to watch.
No,
It
no,
makes-
it's not.
Yeah, it is.
It makes each one of those goals so important.
Nah.
One, it promotes nationalism all the time in Europe, which never turns bad. And two, it's such a popular game because it's like you need a ball,
Yes.
and that's why I don't like shitting on it. Just because it's like, all right, it serves a purpose.
Yeah, sure.
Like having seen kids get priced out of like hockey and stuff, I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay, comparing the price point to like the actual World Cup.
Yeah,
No,
come on.
That's why there's so many good soccer players, because everybody can play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Point is, it's fine. I mean, I don't care. I don't watch sports. Dogs chase balls. I don't chase balls.
I know we played we tried to throw a football around at the cottage, and you just
I just
threw it into the woods.
Yeah, I was over it. I was like, no, that's not what I do.
What do you got on the table?
I finished 2 D&D miniatures for my alternate gaming group. A gold dwarf, which
You're not allowed to have other friends.
Oh, I thought you were into like fetish stuff in that group.
no.
The alternate gaming group.
Fetish wargaming.
I mean, it exists. But no, so it was a gold dwarf. Luckily, I've had lots of practice painting golden armor, so this like hero forged miniature, just like the gold on it, like looks so good.
Nice.
So it's just kind of funny because they don't have like a ton of detail. They're 3D printed, and you can kind of see the striations of where they're extruded. But yeah, it's just like the gold nailed it, and then the other's just like a half elf ranger. So it was like, oh, brown and green and gray. There we go. We're done. But they were fun. And then I got washes on the Terminators that I'm doing for a client, and I've been kind of putting that off because I didn't know what to do with the cloaks. They have these like big bear cloaks. Then I realized, well, why don't I just ask the client what they want? Like, and he was like, well, probably gray or like maybe like a light gray. I was like, well, why don't we do like a blue-white? So instead of like having a gray-white building up, we do a blue-white building up, kind of like the frost trolls in Skyrim.
Yeah.
And that'll give a really nice contrast between the warm yellow and the cool blue.
Yeah, like polar bears.
Yeah. So polar bears you would shade that more brown yellow sepia, and that would just end up looking like piss all over yellow, because it would be like yellow armor, yellow
Frost bears.
Sure, potato. So yeah, that was just a little bit of like, I'm going to manage myself, and now that I've got that down, I'm pretty excited to just get like that blue gray going. And yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So we all have like a ton of games played,
Yeah.
but I think we're gonna have to narrow it down to 4. So,
Each?
Yes.
Oh my god. Well, I mean, I only played pretty much 4 games, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I only played 3.
Well, I played like 10, so.
Yeah, well, you're a maniac.
Oh, then
I-
4 will be my limit.
4 is so many.
No, it's not.
It's gonna take.
No, it's all good. So I played a league game versus Josh Awesome. That's his actual last name. It's Awesome. Really fun player. He brought it's like a super classic Imperial Guard list. So 2 tank commanders, 2 Legion battle tanks, a basilisk, and just tons of infantry. And I was playing against my orcs, and he castled up hard and just super speedy orcs just penned him in. Like got the 2 of the Lehman Russes in a way that they couldn't fall back because there were other Lehman Russes and infantry blocking the way. Oh, he had a knight too, so I got to deal with a knight for the first time with the orcs, which we're talking about knights, so it makes sense. It was tough. Like that knight chewed through probably like at least 50 boys, just like stomp, 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 stomp. And it took weird boys and like every knob in my army to finally bring it down.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a fun game. It was good. That was, I think, my first time facing Codex Guard in 8th edition. Yeah, they can be really scary.
Mm-hmm.
Pask single-handedly one-shots battle wagons at toughness 8. Just kills them, like, because he can fire twice. He can re-roll the dice to determine how many shots he has. But yeah, just absolutely nuts. And then we went up to the cottage, and then we started playing games immediately. So I played a great 30k game versus Connor first thing when we got up there. Emperor's Children versus Iron Hands, standard grudge match. It went on for the full 6 turns, and it was just it was a lot of fun. Like, we just got right into the rules. There's a lot of back and forth. I think he ended up beating me like 25 to 23.
Oh, that's close.
Yeah, it was super close, but it was such a fun game. He's playing his whole tank army. I'm playing my whole my cacophony list, and he basically like ran in with one sergeant left from a squad that I annihilated, killed 2 characters, 2 cacophony with a thunderhammer, and then I ran away and he swept me, and I was like, oh, that's not how this is supposed to work. But it was a great game, a great way to kick off the cottage weekend. Got a great game in versus Phil's Dark Eldar.
I love playing that army. It's so he plays it really well. It kind of pushes you, but it's
You don't feel bad losing to that army.
No.
yeah. But you also like it's you can accomplish what you want to accomplish, but he just can like it's weird that this Dark Eldar army can take a punch.
Yeah, well, it's the Talos.
Yeah.
He's running 3 Talos in there, which are basically 3 souped up dreadnoughts with a 4-up invulnerable save, healing wounds. And like last time I played Dark Eldar, I was just like, I can run through that entire army in combat. And the Talos were just like, no, just mulching boys left, right, and center. The Haywire cannons are doing mortal wounds to vehicles. Lilith is just pinwheeling through entire squads of boys until the Burner Bomber just gets up close and starts like point blank shooting her with guns. That was a really close game. I actually was up like 14-2 in points, and then he tabled me turn 6.
Oof.
Like I was like I need to score points in this game.
Yeah.
Early on, and I just got the objectives, and I think I just pushed myself a little too far. But then again, it's Dark Eldar. Like, you can't hide from them. They can go 40 inches a turn.
You also have like squads of like 20, 30 guys. So like, how do you hide those?
Yeah, exactly.
So
they got mowed down pretty quick, but it was a great game. And then Connor has been bored, I think, and has been building us lists. So he built a list for me to try out for Emperor's Children.
well, I think what happened with Connor is that he found a build that like he can't tweak any further. Like he's squeezed every bit out of that Iron Hands list that he can.
Yeah. So he built Paul and I a list, so I ran that against Connor himself. So it was basically a squad of 20 Noise Marines in 40k, which is just disgusting. It was a 2-battalion list of 20 Noise Marines, 2 squads of 3 Obliterators, Chaos Lord, Havocs, and tons of cultists. And boy, like, the Obliterators are just so good. They come down, I give them +1 to wound if they're firing out of vehicle, so they're strength 7 to 9, wounding on 3s, if not wounding on 2s, and just punching through things. Like, obliterated a 10-man squad of Stern Guard, then fired twice and killed a 3-man squad of Centurions with 1 squad. And that was basically 1 shooting phase. It was great. I definitely want to get some Obliterators now. I'll figure out some pool conversions. I'm thinking, I think I told you about this a while ago, like aggressors, but with speakers instead of guns.
Could be done.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we played a giant 4-player Horus Heresy game that was long and tedious at the end of a long, sleepless weekend.
Didn't we vow not to talk about it?
I'm not.
No, it was like
it.
Yeah, it was a good game. Like it was fine, but by the end of it, I was like, I don't want to play this game anymore. Like that entire game was just like hammering nails in the heresy coffin for me. So I was like, this is so tedious is the perfect word for it.
Well, I think you would have felt the same way if we had played a 6,000 point aside 40k game.
I was just like, I mean, it all came back pretty quickly, but I was just not not feeling it.
Yeah. No, like I said, end of the weekend, everyone's tired. Filming a game also just adds another element. We were filming it, just adds another element of
Yeah.
something that just makes it go a little bit longer than you want it to.
Yeah. The thing that like really stuck out to me is the AP system in 7th. Like, I really don't like now.
Yeah, I do like the armor save modifiers.
Because it's just like a sergeant with a 2 up just eats 10 lucky armor saves, as opposed to his save getting worse because of a powerful weapon.
Yeah.
As opposed to being like, oh, well, actually, this Hurricane Mega Bolter meant to mow down swaths of troops. Because your one dude is in front, it doesn't work.
Oh, it's kind of like a Shadowfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But instead of being on your HQ, it's in every squad of power armor. So
Yeah, it's weird because I find, like, I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, I find that the armor save modifiers in 8th just screw Marines over so hard. Like, I think one of the reasons why power armor sucks now is because of armor save modifiers.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas before, like a heavy bolter, you still get your 3 up. Now you're at a 4 up. And a 4 up's not that much better than, a 5 up. So a guardsman's taking a punch from a heavy bolter about the same effectiveness as a Marine.
It's putting a guardsman to 6, but yeah, like I agree with you that it does make power armor flimsier, and that's just sort of a function of it being D6s.
Yeah,
There's no granularity in it. But I just like having a 2 up save. It was just kind of like cool. Everything's like super bubble wrapped, and unless I brought stuff to like specifically take apart that, you're just kind of you're just gonna have like a really frustrating game.
No, but the element to get around that is super easy. You flank the squad. If the guy with the 2+ save is out in front, you just go beside them and blow them away.
And that works perfect unless it's like, a squad of like 5 characters.
Oh yeah.
And then, there's no flanking. It's just sort of like, well, eat crap. These guys are invincible. So yeah, that was just a bleh game. It was a really long game. Got to use Dorn, and he chewed through like a tactical squad pretty well.
Yeah, he did.
That was about it. Because then Fulgrim got into a fight with him. I was like, cool, Primarch fight. Like, do you just want to not use these guys for like 4 turns and then I'll take Dorn? Because it's like the math just works.
Yeah,
that Fulgrim wins every one. Like, the only Primarchs he doesn't win against is Horus.
Russ.
Yeah, Russ now.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2.
Yeah.
And if he
Maybe
gets...
Vulcan.
No. He beats Vulcan every time. Well, most likely.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What games did you play, Paul?
I played that one, which was a slog. We probably should have did that first, when everyone had enthusiasm and love in their heart. I played the night list, Phil's new night list, and I learned something about pain. 4 nights, one of which was the Atropos. Archeron, sorry.
Yeah.
Just took it in the shorts. Like, he was able to get the Archeron close to the Fire Raptor, which would have been my best bet for taking it down. And with 1 round of shooting from 1 model, put it to 1 wound.
How did that happen?
He hit it with a flamer.
No, how did he get in firing range?
He was just able to do it. It's got a 18-inch range, and we played like a long table edge, and
you wouldn't put the Fire Raptor on the complete other side of the board from the best unit to kill it?
It got set up first, and I didn't know what that thing did.
Yes.
So yeah, I just was like, cool, man, and then it being able to like shift the ion shield, so it went from a 5 up to a 4 up. I couldn't get anything through. The list that I brought was mass strength 7, but that's not very good because you're winning on 5s because everything's toughness 8. So I was missing a third of my wounds as soon as that happened. So I couldn't pump out enough damage, and he was just blowing stuff. Like, every turn it would be like, oh, your highest damage unit, gone.
Yeah.
The next one, that's gone.
Did you kill a knight?
I killed the flaming bastard. And I took another night down to half, and then I was just there's nothing left. Yeah, so I mean, if knights are in your local meta, like bust out your strength 8 weapons.
Strength, yeah, even strength 9. Like strength 8 is still 4 up.
Yeah, and with Marines, I just don't know. You can't. I don't know what I would do, like tweaking the Imperial Fist list or the Crimson Fist list, as it were.
Yeah, not in any balanced sort of way.
No.
You have to, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to bring in other units, and then I played Nick's Orcs, and
I forgot about that.
it was a good game. I enjoyed it. My first turn of shooting was just a wet sponge, so I didn't once I didn't kill anything in the first turn. I was like, cool, well, that's pretty much game. Like, I'll be on the back foot.
Well, I think it goes back to the last game, right? Like, it was, again, you had trouble putting wounds on something that was toughness 8.
Yeah.
Right? So it was with an invulnerable save. So, and I was getting lucky with the save. So when
Yeah.
you're like, oh yeah, the missile went through, I was like, no.
Yeah, and
Locked.
just the amount of invulnerable saves are on the ground. Like, sometimes you're just kind of like, cool, I guess I'll try and get mortal wounds through. But you're playing Space Marines, so your source of mortal wounds are librarians, and that's D3. Maybe D6 if you're lucky. And most other armies are going to outclass you in Psychic. So
Either because their psychics are just cheaper, or because the other better.
Yeah.
With bonuses to cast and all that.
So I was just kind of like, all right, well, it was a fun game, but you're really seeing the deficits of the Space Marine Codex, like being able to put together aggressive lists that don't have Gilliman.
Yeah.
Like Pedro, I tried it at Pedro Cantor, and he was fine. Like, I didn't castle it up the way that I ought to have, but I couldn't really do that against your orcs because as soon as if I didn't kill both your transports in the first turn, that would have been like absolutely game over because you would have got in and assaulted everything. And then
I like when people castle up. It makes the orcs' job a lot easier. It's like, we have one target. It's over there.
I really miss the mobility and the flexibility of the Necrons this weekend.
Yeah, I was surprised you only brought the.
Well, we had to get beer for everyone.
It's fair.
We didn't have any room.
Even on your lap?
I wasn't doing that for 3 hours. For a 3-hour drive? Absolutely not. But, that being said, I learned a lot. I learned that Space Marines just aren't good anymore. At all. Like, they feel bad now.
Yeah, not like a balanced 3rd edition style list that kind of were used to playing all around. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Gonna crack this beer.
Ooh.
Come down quickly.
Don't hold back.
Why are you giving me such a hard time? Oh, wrong way. You got this. You can read it.
Yeah, so this is a IPA from Burdock. I love the label because it just has their address on it, and it says IPA on it. Because if you do something nice, you can just let it speak for itself. They're in my neighborhood. I like them. Their IPA is like really nice and pale, like it ought to be. It is gonna be really sedimenty, so
We get out our candle and decanter.
You know that IPAs are just pumpkin spice lattes for white dudes, right?
Oh, you have the internet, do you?
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, right. Also, have you had a pumpkin spice latte?
Yeah, they're so good.
Them shits is delicious. Make no wonder all those white ladies like it.
Doesn't have like a big bite at the end.
Nope.
I like
It's
it.
just nice.
The beer or the pumpkin spice latte?
The beer. Like, it's got a nice IPA hoppiness up front, but then there's none of that, like...
There's no back of the mouth, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
at
not
the
bitter.
end.
It's like, oh, this is nice on a hot day.
Yeah,
It's very aromatic. Like, I can smell this a lot. I don't have a very good nose.
You can't smell.
And like, here's the thing I've realized about my beer preferences. I need to be able to drink it in a park. Like, it needs to be a nice light beer, and it needs to go with chips and popcorn and maybe Popeye's fried chicken. And tell me that wouldn't be delicious with some fried chicken.
You like Popeyes?
Popeyes is so good.
I
Really?
love Popeyes.
I've only been once and I didn't like it.
Their spicy fried chicken is just.
I'm going to
Best.
tell you right now, and I'll never say this about anything usually in my life, but you are straight up dead ass wrong. Like,
I mean, are they franchised? Like, did I just get a bad location or something? Or, I don't know.
you must have.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's the best fried chicken.
Really?
Like, the best fast food fried chicken that exists.
Where you can go and just be like, I want 10 pieces, and they throw it in a bucket and you leave, and you don't have to wait for it to be ordered.
Yeah.
And their biscuits, they're like 70% butter.
All right, I'll
That's
try it
all I
again.
need.
I'll try it again.
Okay.
Just because I trust you guys and appreciate you guys. Most people I say I'm just not going back. But
Dead ass wrong. Alright, well, that's the first section.
No, it's not.
What else?
I gotta play some games, bro.
Oh, shoot. Sorry, dude.
So, first game, I played against Jay. I brought my sisters, and I basically played them the whole time. I brought my Space Marines too, just in case. But, yeah, didn't get around to playing it for, similar reasons, because without Gilliman, it's kind of just like, eh. They're still good, but, yeah. I played them a bunch recently too, so.
Also, like, I don't like... And I'll stop complaining because I do have an army that I really enjoy playing. But I don't like that the best way to make Space Marines good is to re-roll everything. Like, that's not a solution. Like,
Right.
what's your tactic? I just made everything in my army better.
Just get rerolls.
Yeah, like... Okay.
Yeah, and from a different point of view, Gilliman's not going to be everywhere. So it's like, why is he in my army? I don't understand.
Yeah. Why is the scion of the Imperium just, like, dealing with this 2,000 point shenanigan? It's like,
This is just a zoomed in
Yeah,
focus on a much larger battle.
that's a good way of looking at it.
yeah, you know what? I can live with that.
I mean, it's only a 6x4 area, right?
It's true. Every Warhammer
No,
game is...
that's the world. Once you leave that 6x4 area, you're dead.
Flat
Paul
Earthers were right.
Paul knows that well. What happens to planes once they fly off the 6x4 area?
Yeah.
Did that happen this weekend?
No, I flew in Nate Shroud.
You did fly your fire raptor into a corner and let it got assaulted by boys.
Yeah, I mean, I did. It's just that I'm so used to flyers in 7th being able to be like, I'm going to fly it off and I'm going to bring it back on. Which is like a smart mechanic. It's weird that that's like the one mechanic from 7th where I'm like, that makes sense.
I did like that. I'm off and I'm back next turn.
Yeah.
Made a lot of sense.
So I played against Jay, and I played with my sisters most of the weekend, and threw in an Imperial Knight, because, the new Knight Codex came out, and there's never really a good excuse to use it, but I painted this model, and I friggin' love it, and I was like, I just want to play with this thing. So I did. We played 2,000 points. I forget what mission we played, but it was... he just got spanked. Like, it was over on turn 2.
What was he playing?
He was playing Iron Warriors.
Okay.
And
So
so I
Chaos.
just... Yep, Chaos. I just have so many Meltagons, and I've been using my Seraphim squad and giving them the faith to move first turn, and then move again, and getting 4 Melta pistols in range of something on the first turn.
That'll do it.
Yeah, and it's been catching a bunch of people by surprise. And it's been kind of a fun tactic, but definitely messed them up. Awesome, I'm excited to see what Connor has to say.
Connor just chimed in saying, dude, I wrote a night list.
So speaking of Connor, I played against Connor, and he played his Castle Dreadnought list with the Forge World, not Raptor special character, Iron Hand, no.
Sons
What
of
are the
Medusa.
Sons of Medusa special character. He's just a chapter master, so he takes 2 Redemptors, 3 Predators doing kill shot to just obliterate any big thing.
We've all complained about this list numerous times in the podcast.
Yeah, so there you go. And I was using my same
list.
sisters list, which I should have described it the first time around. It's basically 3 squads of battle sisters with Meltaguns riding up in Immolators, a unit of Dominions inside a Repressor with 4 Meltaguns, the Seraphim with 4 Inferno pistols, 2 Exorcists with a Canoness to support them and give them rerolls, and Celestine, obviously. And then a squad of 4 Heavy Bolters, and then the Imperial Knight for this version. So, Yeah, so we got hammer and anvil deployment, and he literally backlined me, so he just like deployed on the table edge at the far. So it's as far away as he can get
Yeah.
in a Warhammer 40k game. And we played. What did we play? We were playing. It wasn't Maelstrom. It was. There was a superior and inferior objective. So one objective was worth 4 points, one's worth 1, and the rest are worth 2. And there's 6 of them scattered throughout the battlefield.
Oh yeah, that's a fun one.
I think it's one of the main rulebook missions. Yeah.
Like the scouring or something.
Something like that. Yeah, the scouring. Yeah, that might have been it. Anyways, so I just like went as fast as I could straight at him. And of course none of my melta guns were in range first turn. And then I just had to take it in the nose. I mean, he actually...
Not the shorts, the nose?
Both. Took it in the shorts and the nose.
By the time he was done, he didn't know which was which.
Yeah. Actually, I tried to kill his Daredeo, so I did the Knights shooting, the Heavy Bolters, and I actually think I did manage to get the Dominions in range because of their Vanguard move and stuff. And I got it down to 1 wound. I was like, I just want to get rid of the invulnerable save. And yeah, so that was a little bit sad. I think I choked a little bit on that first turn of shooting. But anyways, then he did his counterpunch and blew up both my exorcists. He decided to ignore the knight and blew up the repressor, which the 4 melta-gun squad was hiding in, to get rid of 4 melta-guns right away. Yeah, and both the exorcist, which I was like, uh-oh.
Smart. That's a smart play.
Yeah, so that was the idea for him, was I just need his infantry out of all the tanks, and I need to start taking away melta-guns as fast as I can. Especially because the knight deployed a little bit further back to stay out of line of sight in case he got first turn kill shot with the predators. Yeah, so I was a little bit worried, but the Seraphim just kept getting in there and doing work. Like I think the squad had 1 girl left, and she just faith moved right behind his line, stood beside a predator, and just like one-shotted a predator.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, because they have 2 pistols each.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
6-inch range or 8-inch?
6-inch range.
Okay, so not bad.
Yeah, melted at 3 inches. And then all my girls had to just get out of their tanks, and then the tanks drove up and assaulted as many predators as possible to stop all the shooting. And the knight slowly got up and just chopped Redemptors in half. And yeah, Celestine was just a general pain in the butt, as she is, and kept things from shooting. That's the thing. Once you hit Connor's line and his stuff can't shoot, that's when his list falls apart. Oh, actually, when the Seraphim first got in, their first target was killing the Chapter Master. So I flew up right beside him and just positioned the unit, obviously, so he was the closest, and just 4 melta pistols just melted.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah. So there you go. That was a fun game. Played against the Imperial Knight list as well. And we're talking about those now or later? You talked about yours.
Yeah, go for it now.
Yeah. So I gave Phil a hard time. I was beating him by objectives the entire game by a lot. And I think this is probably how most night games are going to go. You're going to beat them on objectives. And then they're just going to table you like he did to me. But we played the Recon mission from Chapter Approved, where you had to divide your army into into 3s.
I don't like that mission.
Yeah, so you divide it up into 3 categories, and so basically based on the number of units, and then randomly one of those little formations starts on the table. And so he was like, I don't know how to divide it all up, because he had like 5 units. Anyway, so he put 2 Helverins in one, 2 Knights in another, and then his big Knight. What's the flaming one called?
The Dominus class? Something?
No, that's the
Oh, the
Archeron.
Archeron.
The Archeron?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Forge World one. So it was just the Archeron, 1 Exorcist, unit 4 Heavy Bolters, and probably an Immolator with 2 Melta-Guns in it that started on the board. So, that's probably the best opportunity to table a Knight's army, unless you're rocking like a ridiculous amount of blast cannons and playing a Gilman gun line.
Honestly, I think the best thing to take on a night list would be a night list.
Probably. That would actually be a really fun game, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, yeah, gave him a hard time, really pestered him, and just, every time I take off, half wounds to a Knight, he just obliterates a few of my units because he split fires like crazy. And so it was just, even though I gave him a really hard time, I didn't have enough stuff to, like, keep away all that damage.
That's the thing. Like most armies don't have enough stuff to absorb their shooting phase.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like
They split fire everywhere. They have
Yeah.
so many big guns. Thanks for the follow, Disco Jedi, over there in Twitch land.
Yeah.
If you're listening on the podcast, we do a live recording.
Yeah.
On Twitch, so check it out.
But yeah, it's just like most things can't absorb that first round of like undegraded shooting.
Yeah.
Like
And then the trick becomes with his Knight House rules. We always count. He doubled his remaining wounds for how effective his unit is.
Yeah.
Right. So they don't degrade as fast.
Yep.
And so they're staying at full strength longer.
Which is awesome. Which is so good.
It's such a good Knight household, and we'll get to all the options. But in my opinion, that's probably one of the best.
yeah, that's because that mitigates the biggest weakness they have.
Yep.
Exactly. So yeah, I just couldn't take enough chunks out of them to ping them out. I think I killed 3 knights, so I did better than you, but it was still a grind. And he had 2 little Helverins and 1 knight left at the end. I think it was the new one that came out with like a bajillion guns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Dominus class.
Dominus
one.
class one. And all I had, like last turn, I just had 2 models left. And he managed to snipe my Canoness and my 1 model hiding behind a pillar.
Feels bad, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
But actually, I had a lot of fun and I made him sweat.
Yeah, like I don't mind fighting it. I think I would have a better chance with my Necrons.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even just, it's
I
such a
would.
different style army to play against that it does take some getting used to. Like, it's not the normal meta.
No.
No.
I definitely want to see how it does against the Horde Orcs.
Go for it,
I don't know
man.
if
Yeah.
they can kill enough.
Yeah.
Rapid fire battle cannons don't really do much against boys, but that flamer, oh my god, that flamer is so bad.
Mm-hmm.
They have 2 really bad flamers.
Yeah, the other one is even better.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shall we take a little break?
Well, the only other thing I did was play a BFG game against Nick this
shit.
month. But I won't describe it because we were just learning and having a good time. So.
It was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, a small little fleet engagement was cool.
Yeah.
BFG.
And I definitely want to start doing it again.
Like playing with antiques.
Maybe I'll see what Phil's up to this Friday, and we'll play a BFG game.
Do
There
it.
you go.
Cool.
All right, let's go harass Twitch.
You know, when I'm not cracking cold ones, I'm popping paint pots and putting brushstrokes on miniature figurines. And you know darn right that I'm getting my supplies from thewarpainter.com, a hobby store in the Great White North. Thewarpainter.com is Canada's greatest hobby store for all things hard to find. Scale 75, Broken Toad, The Army Painter, and Valet Ho. All supporters of Encounter Wargaming get 10% off their first order with the code EWG10. They got you covered.
And we're back with a Canadian Frontier Best Bitter Ale from Black Creek Historic Brewery. So here in Toronto, we got one of those Renaissance villages, but we don't have that much of a history as white settlers. I mean, if you want to get really into it, there's a huge history here. But this goes back to like 1880s. It's this cool little park. Adam's grandma used to work there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go and experience what life is like, and they brew beer at this brewery like they would have back then. Probably it would have been a lot chunkier.
I don't care for chunks in my beer.
Breadier.
Breadier. I don't think there would have been as much filtering. Not bad. It's a bitter.
Yeah, I would.
I mean, if this is the beer you're drinking back then, you're having a pretty good life.
Yeah.
It's got a dryness to it that I'm not a big fan of. But it's good on the front.
Yeah, it's it doesn't taste old worldy enough for me.
Well, I mean, it's 1880.
True. Fair enough. You know what? Shut the frig up, Paul.
Yeah. It's New World as it gets.
Yeah. You just saw so many gears just like click into place where it's like, well, that's why I wouldn't. Well, good.
It's like, I'm sorry this isn't brewed according to the Reinheitsgebot. But
I'm sorry. That is a great document to have.
It's great document. So yeah, we're here to talk about knights, and we're going to start with fluff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get into it a little bit. So basically, when humanity set out towards the stars, there was no warp travel, or warp travel was very minimum, and these colonists were going to be out in feral planets with no civilization, fighting aliens, orcs, probably plants, because there are sentient plants out there. So the government at the time sent them along with these knights, and originally the knights were like a multi-purpose construction suit. So they could be used for, being a giant crane or chopping down trees with their giant chainsaws and using, like, the thermal cannon, for example, was like a piece of mining equipment. So the knights started off basically being a piece of technology that was used to help humanity settle the stars, which is kind of cool when you think about it that way, because you're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But the way that knights work, and we'll get into this right now, why not? They use the throne mechanicum. So we all know what a machine spirit is. So knights have a machine spirit, but they also need to be like interfaced with, like Pacific Rim style. So every time somebody interfaces with a knight, part of their personality and whoever they are kind of like imprints on the machine spirit. So as like a knight gets older and older, and goes through different pilots, then it kind of gets a weird personality on its own. And it kind of just messes them up. So the knights came to see themselves as protectors of the people. And became knights. Like, we view feudal knights. And during the Age of Strife, when humanity lost its ability to travel at all, basically these places were just completely left alone, all cut off, and regressed from, industrial societies capable of producing knights into feudal warlord territories.
Yeah, like fiefdoms.
Yeah, exactly like fiefdoms.
And I absolutely love this idea, like fluff-wise, because so much of the Imperium is like medieval in its sensibilities. And you never really had these, like, people that are essentially of the people. Like, Space Marines are so far removed from humanity that, like, protecting the Imperium is their thing, but famously, sometimes most chapters are kind of like, people are weird and we don't relate to them.
Yep.
And the Imperial Guard, that it's just a dude, but you don't have these, like, these kind of noble characters. And I like that they kind of push that. Not, like, sure, it is grimdark, but it's not impossibly bleak.
No, because they very much are sorry, tongue twisted there. They very much are nobles. They're organized in households. Their chapter tactics are household somethings.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they are. But basically, the Age of Strife ended, and the Mechanicum needed raw materials. And so the Mechanicum kept going to these worlds and were like, hey, you've got raw materials, you've got wood, you've got lumber, you got, people that we can make into servitors, because that's a huge thing.
You've got criminals.
Yeah. We'll fix your knight suits and keep you armed and up to date if you provide like a yearly tithe. So the Mechanicum would show up, take all their shit, and leave them some new knight suits or repair things. And there's an interesting kind of like Cold War between the Mechanicum and the Imperium here, because the Mechanicum's trying to get these night worlds on their side to support their Forge world, whereas the Imperium is kind of treating them as bringing them back into the fold of the Empire. So any planet that the Empire comes in contact with, they're kind of like, hey, you're now a vassal state of the Imperium, which means all the benefits and crappy things that go along with that. But a lot of night worlds are like slave to local Forge worlds, where they're like, that's who they're loyal to, is that Forge world. If the Forge world's loyal to
The
Imperium, then that knight household is loyal to the Imperium.
Yeah, and you can kind of see that in the army list, because there's the Questor Mechanicum and the, Questor Imperialis?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, your camera face knights or your helmet face knights.
Pretty much. And basically, the knights went on. They have like traditions, tons of traditions. Apparently, there's a 64-part ceremony described as happening daily in the Codex that each knight has to do on a daily basis. Just think of like the pomp and like Game of Thrones, where it's like a knight's expected to do this at the tournament. And they're doing stupid court things, and a lot of knights just are so bored by this because their worlds are so peaceful because you are a giant walking mech suit with a bunch of help, I'm being repressed peasants.
And you're in a machine that very efficiently oppresses peasants.
There's not a lot. I mean, besides putting down the odd peasant revolt, there's not really a lot going on.
No.
So they go on quests and are picked up by the Imperium and say, "Hey guys, you want to go crush some heretics over on the other side of the galaxy?" And they say, "Sure," and off they go.
Yeah, because I mean, imagine like your biggest conflict in your life is like, oh no, Nick parted his hair on the left instead of the right. What does that mean for the taxes this year?
He didn't give me the proper respect in the market today.
He ate his vegetables without salt. I guess, he's going to execute his wife.
You have wounded my pride, sir, and I demand satisfaction.
So, yeah, my favorite house for that stuff is House Hawkshroud. They're an Imperial aligned house. They're the yellow guys, so I'm mad that they're yellow because if I ever add a knight, I don't want to paint it yellow.
But they have links with Imperial fists.
They do. Yeah. They're cool. And they have like kind of oaths woven into their very society. So like they don't ever back down from an honor debt, which I find just really cool for knights. Even if it means like kind of putting themselves out, they'll honor those debts. Think of Ned Stark's. And they're one of the very few Imperial knights, or any knights really, that often carry campaign badges.
Okay, interesting.
Which is like something that I thought was like very, very cool.
Like attracts like.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to the color scheme.
But yes, I can't paint a yellow knight. No. I'll go crazy because I would do it with a brush.
So there's an interesting piece of fluff here. So because of the feudal tendencies, they and the fear of others, their knight worlds ruthlessly purge any psychers, any mutants, anybody who's different. So it's another reason why they're peaceful worlds. Because it's just like...
Fascists.
Does she weigh the same as a duck?
Well, no. Well, we'll have to burn her.
Yeah, exactly.
What else floats? Very small rocks! Best answer in that entire friggin' movie.
Did you just put a nose and a wart on her face? No. Yeah.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
But yeah, there's a little bit here about House Cadmus that was bound to the Mechanicum, but then regained their independence after the Forge world that they were bound to was destroyed by the Tyranids. And then they allied with the Imperium. So it was kind of like a cool little, oh, well, that boss is dead. Time to find a new boss.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of bosses, how about this Canis Rex guy?
Yeah, so he's like is he a free blade or is he a...
He wasn't initially, but they fought a massive campaign against the Iron Warriors. They're originally Night World Randoran Alpha, and the Iron Warriors it was a brutal fight. But eventually his knight household was just obliterated, and then he took the Free Blade Oath because he was the only remaining member of his house. But I kind of enjoy this story, particularly because of one word. So the Iron Warriors just obliterated the planet, and they destroyed all the knights. A lot of the knights. As they broke kind of the hearts and minds of the people, as the Iron Warriors just kept pounding, a lot of the knights turned to chaos. But not Sir Hector of Canis Rex of the Chainbreaker. He held out. I'll just read the sentence word for word. Yet still, Sir Hector held out, chained within a dark oubliette, praying to the Emperor for deliverance.
Yes, oubliettes for the win.
Not a hyperspace oubliette either.
No. Also, they call out the Green Knight. Was it Geriantius?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good callback to Arthurian legend.
Yeah, I like that. The Green Man, the Green Knight. So the Green Man is like, he's a figure in like pre-Arthurian legend of like just a person that's connected with nature, and that's kind of tied to the Gawain the Green Knight, because he's like the most othery of the knights of the Round Table. And with this, no one knows who this guy is, or if indeed it has been the same person. But he's just a dope ass Green Knight. So if you ever want to go paint a thermal cannon knight with a chainsword,
Yeah.
Make
And
him
then
green.
there's no way I could let this go without.
Just before
oh,
that,
yeah.
is this why like people in the city can only get up to as good as a green thumb?
you go to hell. It's awful.
So, of course, being the only trader here, I'm going to talk about Chaos and Renegade Knights. So, for some reason, it seems like a lot of the Renegade Knights turn to Slaanesh. Slaanesh, like in Epic, had an entire line of Slaanesh Demon Knights called Hell Knights. And they're weird looking things. If you've ever seen their units from Epic, you're like, that is strange. Who built that? But yeah, so instead of like having a pilot, like they enslave a demon within, or the pilot becomes demonized, which is just super cool. And there's a great Horus Heresy book, I think it's called The Battle of Moloch, where Horus himself goes to the place where the Emperor bargained with the Chaos Gods.
Spoiler alerts.
It's not, it's like the start of the book.
Yeah.
So
I mean for the Horus Heresy.
Oh, yeah. So Horus follows in his father's footsteps to find this stuff while there's this huge battle going on, and Slaanesh is able to completely corrupt this knight household, and when the battle is finally joined, they just betray the Imperium and just destroy them. And it gets into the politics of the knight households, and this article says it's best is like, they turned during the Horus Heresy due to Targaryen-esque amounts of twincest.
It'll do it.
Yep.
Yeah. The exemplary battles in the Codex, known as Tapestry of Glories. So, you got a castle, you got dope tapestries everywhere.
Are there tapestries? Where are the tapestries?
Is it Scottish?
Oh, you had left at that point. Sorry. We watched Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
I know, I was with you.
Oh, you were there for
Yeah,
that.
and I just know the movie. But yeah, so it kind of paints a picture, and they go out of their way to like start taking these what were peaceful planets and kind of sticking them in fire. So like some turn out to be Necron Tomb Worlds, which is like really bad for your insurance.
It's true. It just drives those premiums up.
Yeah, just move.
What's the distance in feet to the closest tomb world?
0. Oh, well, you know what? We're going to deny your claim. Also, lose our address. Yeah, so they like imperil a lot of stuff. They mentioned that Hawkshroud, my boys, they are besieged by orcs. Orcs are just friggin' everywhere, and they're already stretched thin because they're the house that says yes to helping people all the time. Because they're like, oh god, you guys are so honorable. We'll help. So you can see why I just call them Space Ned Starks. But yeah, like they do a good job of at once explaining why these like tubby nobles would kind of hop in their giant horse suits, because they are like kind of treated like mounts.
Yes, very much so.
And then at the same time, like making it clear like why these guys consider themselves imperiled, or like what this means for them. So I don't know. I like the fluff. It's not crazily advanced because these, as a faction in 40K, they haven't been around that long.
No, they've been around in the fluff for a very, very long time. Mainly in Epic. But yeah, let's get into this because I remember my first encounter with Imperial Knights in 6th edition and how terrible that was.
Stomping out of combat is some cold bullshit.
No, so I went to one of the first tournaments that I played, like a serious, like when 40K got really competitive. Like that started around 6th edition. Like before you had like Hall of Heroes and it was a weird kind of narrative game. And then 6th edition it started to get competitive. I remember going to this first tournament and I just normal army played 2 games, was doing well. Third game was a dude who just, like, the Knights had came out the weekend before, and I was just playing against 3 plastic Knights. I'm like, what are these? I've been playing this game for 4 years. What are these? Like, oh yeah, these are Imperial Knights. They came out last week. I'm like, oh, well, I guess they're not painted. He's like, no, I put them together last night. And I just got wrecked. And I'm just like, I have like 5 Meltagons in my army. And he's like, bah. So that's my first experience with Knights. And that really put me off Knights for the longest time. Like, wanting to play with any Lords of War at all, actually.
Did you get a knight and then you changed?
No.
Because I feel like you got a knight. And
I did
you
get a
changed.
Knight.
I feel like that's how this story goes.
And now you have 2 knights.
Well, I have 1 Knight built and 1 Knight in little tiny pieces underneath my hobby desk.
You should probably just go ahead and build it.
I got so much to build,
Right.
man. I should probably do those Van Sar and that T-34 tank. But yeah, anyways, so Imperial Knights have been a faction since 6th edition.
Yep.
Which is kind of cool.
I remember when they dropped the first night, I was like, I was beside myself. And then the kit came out and I was like, meh. I think it's cool, but I would have wanted more posability.
Yeah.
My first experience with Imperial Knights was returning to the hobby, kind of coming to Hogtown 40K, wandering in and hearing about the first tournament. And it was maybe my, I don't know, 3rd or 4th game of 40K, and I was playing a certain individual, the very first game of the tournament, and understandably so. I was setting everything up, moving phase, like, okay, these guys are going to charge those guys later, and then it came to the charge phase, and I forgot to charge 1 unit in the very back corner of the battlefield, and he's like, nope. And, fair enough, but this individual I made fully aware that I was just kind of getting back into the game and all this kind of stuff. And so I was like, that's a bummer.
You know what we call that? An easy win.
Yeah.
This kid's going down.
So, and then I think it was the next game or the game after, or maybe my memory's just horrible and it was a totally different event altogether. I played against 5 Imperial Knights. Yeah. So yeah, there you go.
That's crazy.
And it wasn't even like this guy owned all these knights. He like borrowed them from.
No,
different
absolutely
people.
not. You go, you jump in a lake if that's what you're doing.
So actually 3 of them were painted like beautifully, and then 2 of them were
Gray plastic.
No, they had paint, but then they were just dry brushed like 2 different colors.
So Adam brought us a Saison de la Maison from Lot 30.
There's
down
Saison,
the street.
baby.
It's just right on par with my jokes tonight.
Saison de la Maison.
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna take that because that was a bad pour.
that was real bad. That was not your best work.
Nope. So yeah, like we said before, knights have households. So they have an allegiance for Questor, and they can be Questor Imperialis or Questor Mechanicus. And I believe if you take something that's Questor Mechanicus, you can take it with an AdMech army.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it grants it like different options for stratagems. But basically, we're gonna run through the 2 new units. I guess there's 3 technically. So in this release, we've got a new chassis for 2 new chassis for knights. One is the Armiger chassis, and the other is the Dominus class chassis.
I mean, it tripled the amount of like profiles you have, so that's kind of cool.
And well done for Games Workshop for doing that.
Yeah,
That's a really good beer.
yeah, that's a really good beer. Also, like for such a low model count army, they did a good job. Like for putting out the armigers and then like the Warglaive dudes and then the big Dominus. Like that's a cool move, I think. Not like just doubling down on the knights before, because that was a big criticism in 7th. Just being like, all right, we got you a new knight. What is it? It's got a different gun and a different hand.
And a hat.
And it's got a missile hat.
So the Armigers are like Redemptor Dreadnought size, a little bit less bulky.
But they're taller, aren't they?
They're about the same height.
Yeah.
They're toughness 7. So you've got 2 options here. You can do shooty or you can do stabby. And the shooty ones each have 2 Predator autocannons.
Yeah.
Called Armiger autocannon.
Armiger autocannons, which are the same cost as this whole thing is the same cost as a Predator, and it's just so much better.
Because it gets 2.
Here's the
too.
thing: Space Marines suck.
So strength 6, toughness 7, 12 wounds, 4 attacks, 3 up save, and they're moving 14 inches, hitting on 3s. So not a bad stat line.
No.
Right?
Their weapons are what does it.
Definitely. The Armiger autocannon, I mean, it's the same thing. 2d3 shots, so super reliable. Anytime we're talking about multiple d3s, you know you're getting much more reliability than the
D3,
d6.
I would take 2D3 over a D6 any day.
Every day of
Of
the
course
week.
you would, because your top is the same and your bottom is one less.
Yep.
One more. Like,
Every time. Yeah. That's that reliability you get out of multiple d3s, which is great. And you'll see even further on.
and you're getting 4 of these. 4 4 D3.
4d3.
Because you got 2. That's
Yeah.
gross.
It's amazing. Now, of course, with autocannons, as we all know, you don't get as much of the armor piercing as you do, say, a last cannon, but you're getting consistency and damage as well. So at 3 damage, you're loving that.
Yeah.
That's so much. It adds up really quick.
I mean, you could also swap out the heavy stubber for a multigun, which, given the fact that they're like moving 14 inches, not a bad idea.
No, you're right. That's true.
Totally.
I mean,
Now,
it is more points, but yeah.
here's something that the Armiger Helverin gets above the Warglaive, and it's actually interesting the way they do it because they build it into the weapon profile. Is the Armiger autocannon has a special rule that says it ignores the penalty to hit rolls for moving and firing this weapon, whereas the Warglaive doesn't get that.
It has an assault weapon.
Yeah, but
So
still.
So the Armiger Warglaive's heavy stubber, when it moves, is hitting on 4s.
So you give it a multigun. It's
But
hitting on 3s.
but it's thermal cannons hitting on 3s.
Which is just an interesting way to write it. Like why,
Why not just make it an assault weapon?
or just give the vehicle just keep it as a knight, and be like, this knight ignores moving and shooting penalties.
Who knows?
Yeah. So
Probably so they could keep the same data slate and just copy paste the weapon profiles in.
yeah, for sure. But this is a perfect opportunity to FAQ something. But these books are written way ahead of time, so they wouldn't have had time to do that.
So I really like the way the Armigers look. They're very predatory, very like small pack hunter type. But we missed talking about this in the fluff. But the Armigers are basically like the squires for the knights. So they're up jumped common
Commoners.
peasants.
They're brawn. They're brawn from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like, there's just like, oh, you befriended a nobleman and you're super good at killing people.
Yeah.
Would you like to maybe someday become a nobleman? And it's like, yes, I would. I am very good at killing, and that makes me very noble. Braun, he's the best.
Why does his name have to be Braun too?
Mhm.
Couldn't be like Peter or something.
Well, I mean,
It has to be like the name has to be what he is.
yeah, he's the Braun.
So this codex also brings us a new weapon called the Las Impulsor, which is super cool. So it's 2 profiles, heavy 2d6, strength 6, AP -2, d3 damage, which is awesome. Or heavy d6, strength 12, AP -4, d6 damage.
And who's walking around with this thing?
A knight preceptor or Mr. Hector himself,
The Canis Rex.
Canis Rex.
Hiding in the oubliette.
And then we've got our knight errants, our knight paladins, our knight gallants.
These are essentially just named knights for all the different weapon combinations that
Yeah.
you could have taken in the previous.
Yeah, so
Avenger, Gatling Cannon, Thunderstrike, Gauntlet. There's not a lot that's changed here from the index. Oh, thermal cannons are heavy D6 instead of heavy D3.
that
Which
makes
is
sense.
super fun.
And I don't know if previously the Gallant with this is the chainsword and gauntlet combo, if it previously hit on 2s with its weapon skill, but now it does.
Oh boy, I missed that.
That's
Yeah.
nuts.
That is really good. I like
So
that a lot.
it's the cheapest knight you can get because it has essentially no guns. You can take a top hat if you like, of any variety. But yeah, they improved that weapon skill by 1, which is rather interesting.
And we've got one character in this codex.
Mm-hmm. Canis.
Adam was talking about him earlier.
King Dog.
He's super cool because his Fist of Doom does 2d6 damage.
Wow.
Holy frig.
Freedom's hand.
Freedom's hand.
Yeah. That's a way better name than
Yeah.
Fist of Doom.
And you can throw things at people. So if you kill a monster or a vehicle with any Thunderstrike Gauntlet and Freedom's Hand, you pick an enemy unit within 9 inches, and on a 4+, it suffers D3 mortal wounds.
That's hilarious.
So mix the Freedom's Hand with the stratagem you can do to just crush people, which we'll talk about in a minute.
And this guy's cool because when it blows up, Sir Hector himself pops onto the battlefield. He's got stats here. He's got an Archaeotech pistol. What else does he have? Yep. Archaeotech pistol. And
That's it.
That's it. And the unit is not considered to be destroyed until Sir Hector is slain. And he is a character. So if it blows up, he just goes, well, I'm out of here.
Yeah, but like if he blows up, you're going to be able to shoot him.
He's a character.
Yeah, you're going to be able to shoot him, though. It's like 3 other models.
Fair enough. That's a good point. And then we have the Dominus class knights. These things they look like castles with guns.
Well, one's called the Castellan because they must have paid $4,000 for the word Castellan. Because they use that every chance they get. And the other, I think, is the Valiant?
Well,
Yeah? Alright. And it's just the weapon combinations. One's got the great big plasma gun, and the other has the harpoon thing for harpooning things.
yeah, so one's like long range.
Yeah.
Like Paul said, the plasma decimator. But it doesn't just kill 1 in 10, it kills everything. And the Volcano Lance, which is basically a volcano cannon. It's not as, because strength 14, is it volcano cannon 14 or 16? I'm not sure. Anyways, it's really good. And then they have a new weapon, 2 new weapons called the Siegebreaker Cannon, which are basically auto cannons that do D3 damage. Not bad.
Nope.
And these are the shoulder-mounted little
And they look like what's on
stubby
the
looking
like what's on the
battle cannons.
Torox.
Yeah.
And the Shield Breaker missile.
Which has a stratagem associated with it where you can target characters.
And this ignores invulnerable saves, but you can only fire once per battle, each missile, and each model can only fire 1 per turn.
It's strength 10, AP -4, D6 damage. Ask me how I know. It screwed up my my Leviathan pretty good.
Oh yeah, oh
Yeah, it was just like dunk, dunk, dunk. No more Leviathan.
oh yeah.
I was like,
the invulnerable save.
like neat, cool. I love this.
Maybe you'd find a unit of Terminators with storm shields and just that's how you do it.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be good for that, but like taking down.
Sure would.
No, it wouldn't, because
Why
D6
not?
damage doesn't spill over. You're just
Right, it's only
killing.
heavy 1.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was just sort of like, so long, big thing in my army. Felt bad.
And then we have the Valiant, which has a giant flamer, which is even worse than the flamer Paul was talking about earlier, called the Conflagration Cannon. It's strength 7, AP -2, 2 damage, and heavy 3d6 auto hit.
I will give them this. Conflagration is one of my favorite words.
It's a great word.
So the thing that gets dirty about this knight is, I mean, at first glance you're like, okay, it's kind of on par with the Ivara and what was the other knight we were talking about earlier?
The Archeron.
Arsharon. But the relic version of this conflagration cannon, which you would take every time if you took this knight, is reroll wounds.
Yeah. Yep, it's disgusting. And then it's got a harpoon launcher for hunting Moby Dick. I was telling Adam before you got here that it was a real missed opportunity to not include like an actual harpoon rule.
Yeah. Like where it comes closer to you.
Yeah, so it's
drag them in.
heavy 1, strength 16, AP -6, 10 damage. You can re-roll hit rolls while targeting vehicle or monsters. And if you actually wound somebody, you take an additional D3 mortal wounds because those 10 wounds was not enough.
10 damage is hilarious. Picture a game where you get a character out in the open and you're just like,
Sir, we fired a harpoon and he disintegrated.
yeah.
Reel it back in.
And where is their leader? You see that kind of wet pink smear? Yeah, that's him. Oh, what happened? I just dropped about 2 tons of harpoon on him. It was hilarious. We've been laughing about it for hours.
That is so good.
Of course, the downside of the harpoon is it's only 12-inch range, but there's a lot of upsides for you to make this thing work.
Yeah. Well, Also, you're moving 10 inches, so you're pretty fast.
Yeah.
It gives you 22-inch
Yeah, and
threat bubble.
especially considering this guy is also the guy with the flamer, like you're putting him right up the middle of the battlefield.
Mhm.
Yeah, because there's a lot of weird stuff you can do. And then there's a piece of fortifications called a Sacristan Forge Shrine that does some really crazy stuff.
I believe it's pronounced sacristan.
Okay.
Just saying.
So at the end of your movement phase, one Imperial Knight from your army within 1 inch can use this ability. You can use the Forge Shrine's Auto Sacristan. I don't know what that means. Doesn't matter. If it does so, it cannot shoot or charge this turn, and its attacks correct. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Basically, you regain hull points. You get all your shield breaker missiles back.
Hull points?
So there's 3 options.
Yeah.
You choose one of these effects. So you either regain D3 hull points, or you reload, and you get your missiles back. And the next time you shoot, if you already have missiles or you don't have missiles, or you just haven't fired them, you're still at full strength, you shoot whatever weapon you have that's normally a random number of shots at its highest potential output.
Yeah, so heavy 2d6 is heavy 12.
Or your flamer, that's 3d6, is auto 18.
To be fair, if you're the kind of idiot that manages to get your unit within 18 inches of that knight next to this thing, you deserve to burn. You deserve nothing more than swift and fiery death.
I mean, you put this thing, it's only power level 4, right? You put this thing right in the middle of the battlefield as a piece of terrain. First turn, you walk up with your big flamer and
Come get
can you
me.
move into it and just, at the end of your move, so you move into it, you put it 10 inches up the board, you move into it, you're hiding behind it as
You're
cover.
never going to assault it.
Nope.
Yeah, exactly. And then you just 18 shots with your flamer.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, that's kind of the units. Like, we don't really need to go into them crazy huge.
No, I think that's it. So they have their own weird rule for building an army called a Knight Lance. So you can use a super heavy detachment. Each model you select, you can give a guy a character, which I don't know how great that is, because they all have obviously more than 10 wounds. But to get the benefits of the super heavy detachment, you have to have 3 Questoris class and or Dominus class units. So you can't fill out 3 Helvrins and get 3 command points off there. So you need 3 big knights. And right now, a weird thing is, because we didn't even touch on this, there's a lot of Forge World options for this army list as well.
Yeah.
But right now, rules as written, and Phil told you this when he played you, right? Mm-hmm. Rules as written, you can't use a Forge World Knight with the Imperial Knight army because it doesn't count towards the lance.
Fine by me.
Yeah. You let him do it, though.
I did let him do it because I'm a good guy.
Yep.
And I was also half drunk.
Also, the Forge World Knights are super cool.
And way better.
Yeah, way better than looking. Not even by rules.
Oh, yeah.
Just
No,
looking. Yeah. Cerastus Knights are some of the coolest models that Forge World has ever put out.
It's the best chassis.
I love me a good robust chassis.
You should have seen Paul's face. It's priceless. That's why you should pay extra to view the podcast.
Yeah,
on
that's
Twitch.
right.
Do we have household traditions?
Yeah,
So, let's explain the dividing line here.
yeah, we already went through this. So you either have your Questor Imperialis, which are your dudes that are hanging out in the Imperium, or your Questor Mechanicus, who are their knight aligned, or the Mechanicum aligned houses.
Yeah.
Nick's
And this is relevant because this is like the first big decision you have to make in your army is which direction are you going to go?
Yeah.
Because it's going to limit you in certain ways, certain stratagems, obviously your household, certain relics, and so that's the first big decision. So I guess we'll cover that now.
yeah. Nick's just up getting beers.
Yeah, I am. Hey, I can put them back in the fridge.
Don't
do
you
that.
dare. Yep, hit the table more. Dead later. Nope. Nope. I just tried to put a beer bottle down on foam, and I was like, all right, this doesn't work. I'm just going to go ahead and open the American Pale Ale from Burdock.
Sure. Not gonna complain.
Nope, it's 5.2%, so it's man, these don't have much of a lip, do they?
Is your thing backwards?
No.
He tried all directions. Just keep biting it. Just keep biting it.
Yeah. It's a nice APA. Just tastes good.
You've had this before?
I have had this before. So Burdock is like one of my go-to like date spots if I don't know how the date's gonna go. So it's just like, all right, no one knows me here, and I don't love this bar, so
It's very pale.
yeah, all of their beers are like super.
Kind of like all the hipsters who go there.
Oh no, that's not true. No, all their beers are like very conscious of color.
I like that.
So like their ruby that they just put out is very very pink, and their APA and their IPA are like nice and pale.
It's like drinking nothing at all.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Stupid sexy burdock.
So yeah, the Imperial traditions, Hawk Shroud, they're my favorite because they're yellow and the cool dudes. You can they're the guys that you double the number of remaining wounds for deciding what sort of degradation they're at, and that kind of represents how they're used to being spread so thin. So they know how to make everything they do count. They're always in a desperate situation, so they're always doing the best with what they have. I always like that bit of fluff, and then to see this is how they represented that on the battlefield, I was like, that is super cool. That is such a great idea.
Yeah. This is arguably the best household in this codex.
I'm looking at the rest of the households, and I'm like, no.
Mm-hmm.
No, it is the best?
It is the best. Like,
Yeah.
when you advance or charge, roll an additional d6 and discard the lowest. It's like, it's not bad, but
Not
guess
bad.
what? You've got command points.
Yeah.
You're not going to be using command points on dice rerolls for Imperial Knights.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like, when you look at a pure knight household, that one isn't the bad.
No.
Like,
I mean,
depending on how you build your army.
It's essentially built-in rerolls. Like,
Yeah.
it's built-in pluses to hit on all of your guns, and you have a lot of guns.
Yeah, like the knight.
Yeah, like if I'm down to 12 wounds and I'm normally hitting on 4s,
Now you're still hitting on
built
threes.
in, I'm still hitting on 3s.
Yeah,
That's
so
plus to hit right there.
yeah,
So good.
it's the bet. It's yeah. I'm glad that they gave it to this one, the yellow house, because it's the hardest to paint. But I got a feeling that a lot of red knights are going to be running around pretending they're yeller.
Yep.
Yep.
Then there's the House Cadmus, the Hunters of the Foe. So these knights are accomplished at wading through hordes of lesser enemies, calling them like vermin. You ever heard of the peasant revolt in 1840? That's basically what these guys are. So you're rerolling wound rolls of 1 in the fight phase against units which only contain models with a wound characteristic of 12 or less. Okay, 12 or less. It's like, I'm sorry, but a tank is not a lesser vermin.
To an Imperial Knight, it might be.
Yeah, a land raider's not, but a rhino is.
Fair enough, sure.
Like,
Yep, fair enough.
imagine like a bull, like a Rhodesian Ridgeback fighting a Chihuahua or a Beagle,
Yeah.
right?
So I love...
Oh, I just made myself sad. I'm sorry.
So I love this because it brings to light a game mechanic that in my mind is kind of hilarious in this codex. House Mortan is add 1 to hit rolls for the fight phase for attacks made with this tradition. If it was charged, and this is the funny part, or performed a heroic intervention.
Yeah.
Like, could you just imagine coming within 3 inches of a knight and he just, like, jumps on you?
Don't worry, I've got this. Both feet jumps and just obliterates the guy.
I mean, just the fact that a knight can heroically intervene. I mean,
They have characters.
totally. Game
Yeah.
mechanic-wise, though, it's just very, very intimidating. You know? Anyways.
Again, that's one of those things where if you have to charge within 3 inches of a knight, you messed up.
You did it wrong.
Yeah, you made a bad.
There's plenty of space to go around these things. Yeah.
You made a bad song, Petey.
But clearly, like, I mean, we've only given out 2 other examples from Imperialis. None of them are nearly as good as Hackshroud. So
No.
anything over in the Questor Mechanicus side you guys find interesting?
Yeah, House Raven's not bad. It's like it's super fast moving, so you do not suffer a minus to hit for advancing and firing assault weapons. And if you advance, all your heavy weapons turn into assault weapons.
So you should just be advancing all the time.
You wouldn't be able to charge afterwards.
That's fine.
But yeah, it would still be really good. Because like we were talking about the Dominus class, like 10 inches. Well, now you're going 10 plus D6.
And you're now ignoring... Like, so if you just move, you're getting negatives. If you advance, you're not.
No, so knights
Nope.
ignore penalty with heavy weapons.
Cool, yeah.
But
that
if you
makes sense.
advance, you wouldn't be able to fire heavy weapons at all.
Yeah, but this also trickles down to your armatures.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that makes your armatures really good. So if you want to do an armature heavy thing, good luck to you, sir. Yep.
Hulse Volker, reroll hit rolls of 1, but you have to shoot at the closest target. This is kind of your like only built-in way of getting rerolls because you don't really have characters in the same way other armies do.
Again, like placement, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah, like you'll be able to use this, but on because of the way you have all these different types of guns, like anti-infantry guns and anti-tank guns, like you're going to be split firing a lot. So though, yeah, sure, you'll get use out of this, but you're not going to get the maximum use out of this.
No, you're not. Definitely not.
Yeah. Whereas Hawkshroud, you're going to, I mean, the second you take a couple last games, you're getting use out of that all the time. Yeah. Cool. I think we did the household traditions do justice.
Yeah.
Now we got some stratagems to talk about. I'll let Paul take his favorite one.
Ion Aegis.
Rotate iron shields.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. No. Rotate iron shields. Basically, it's the old mechanic made new. So we all remember how fun it was to like rotate your ion shields. So you had to kind of choose what direction they were facing in. This is like that, except not even a little bit like that, because there's no facings anymore, and it just adds +1 to your invulnerable save, up to a maximum of 3. And it feels bad when it happens to you, because you're like, alright, 5-up save, I can get through this. And it's like, it's a 4-up save, and you're like, frag, dude. If you're using it on a Dominus class, at least they had the wherewithal to make it 3 command points. So, like, because, like, always pushing that thing through a 3-up, you'd just be like this.
Well, that's just it. There's a warlord trait, which we'll get to in a second, that gives you a 4-up invulnerable save.
Mm-hmm.
So then if you pop rotate iron shields, you're now at a 3-up invulnerable save on a knight.
Yeah, so, like, at that point, just go directly to hell. Don't collect $200. You're the worst.
So this is a very not really, like, sneaky army. There's not a lot of stealth here.
Well, to be fair, it's all of them are, like, 50 feet tall.
But that's why I like this stratagem. Sally forth! Through the portcullis! This is 3 command points, so it is expensive, but you can put 1 Imperialis Questoris class or an Armiger class unit into outflank. So at the end of any of your movement phases, it can come in from the side. I don't know if you have 3 command points to spare, but that could be devastating to just hit somebody that like just be like, surprise! I'm a giant knight.
It is pretty cool. Like, sally forth.
And so this is where you're seeing the split. This is where, like, that important decision of Imperialis or Mechanicus come into play, because this is a Questor Imperialis stratagem only.
Yes, makes sense. I didn't even notice that. Yeah,
Oh,
cool.
yeah. Come on, dude. Also, I need to find the Hawkshroud one, just because I'm, like, so into Hawkshroud right now.
So the one that goes really good with those missiles is the Oathbreaker guidance system. Use a stratagem before choosing a target for a Shieldbreaker missile in your shooting phase, and that missile can target a character, even if it's not visible, even if it's not the closest enemy unit. So you just pick a character to die, and use a command point to reroll your damage, and just nail that 6 and kill any character that's wandering around.
Yep.
Yeah, so Space Marines that already aren't that good. You know all those rerolls that you thought you were gonna get?
No.
No.
So the Staunch Allies is the Hawkshroud one, and it is so fun. It's not the best, but it is pretty. It's very flavorful. So if someone declares a charge against a friendly unit within 1 inch of a Hawkshroud unit, you can, and they're within 12 inches, so they have to be also within charge distance of the unit.
Yeah.
You can also Overwatch with them.
Oh no!
Furthermore, if the charge is successful, you can perform a heroic intervention and you move 2d6.
So good.
Yeah.
I love that. Just like a knight over top like a unit of like Stern Guard, just like protecting them from like just hordes of orcs or something. Orcs are in my head.
That's super
You
cool.
know what? There's a good chance your boy might get a knight now. And paint it friggin' yellow.
So then we've got the Death Grip, which to me, doing a lot of...
It goes. Oh, no,
Nope.
that's me.
Been doing a lot of D&D lately, so this one seems like right out of like a D&D spell manual. So basically, after an Imperial Knight hits, no, just fights.
Yeah, you don't have to use a hit for this. You get
Yeah.
you get one additional.
So you get an additional attack for 1 command point with a Thunderstrike Gauntlet or any of the other types of gauntlets. If it hits, the enemy model suffers D3 mortal wounds instead of normal damage and is picked up and squeezed. And both players roll off and add their respective model strength characteristic. Guess what? Space Marine character's not beating a knight on that roll off. If your opponent's result equals or exceeds yours, the enemy model somehow pushes the knight's hands apart and jumps down.
Well, like, alright, does it have to be an infantry model?
No.
Yeah, so, like, imagine, like, a Carnifex or, like, a Demon
Yeah,
Prince
I know,
just being like, no!
And then,
Or Kratos, I guess.
if the knight player beats their opponent, they take D3 mortal wounds. And then it keeps going. You just keep squeezing them.
That's such a fun mechanic, just like, oh, this won't be over quickly, but I am crushing this guy to death.
Yeah, that's rough, because that's just D3 mortal wounds non-stop. Because what's the strength of a knight? We didn't even talk. I think it's 8. So that's not.
Yeah, you're not winning. I mean, a Space Marine character could win on a 6 if the knight rolls on 1.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's not gonna
It's
happen.
not happening
Don't
because you
don't
also have
depend on
command
it.
points.
Yeah,
You
don't
got-
depend on it.
Yeah.
So
Bigger
here's-
characters, but like a Space Marine, like, hey,
But
Pedro Cantor.
I like how
Squeeze the life out of him.
cinematic that is. Though.
Oh, it's a great stratagem. And it's good. And it's cinematic. And you still have to, first of all, be armed with a Thunderstrike Gauntlet, which aren't great.
Yeah,
And then,
This fixes that problem.
it's true, it does.
but how many command points are you getting in a knight army? Like tops?
6.
Yeah, you should have 6.
You should, or 6.
Yeah.
So this one for me is this stratagem in particular. It's called Machine Spirit Resurgent. Is probably one of the only reasons you would not take Hawkshroud.
Yeah.
Because this is essentially a similar version of the Hawkshroud household tradition, but better. And for 1 command point, you pick a Questor Mechanicus unit in your army. Until the end of the turn, you can use the top level of on the damage table to tell you how many wounds you have left, and that tells you how you operate that turn, right? So you're essentially fighting at full strength that turn for 1 command point.
That's a cool one.
Yeah, totally. Because I mean, if you're at 4 wounds left as a knight, you double that. That doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? But if you have 4 command points for if you have 4 wounds left for 1 command point, you
You're the
count as
top.
24.
Yeah, and like that's the scene at the end of like Matrix of Revolutions where like dude has his guns and he's shooting all the sentinels as they're coming into Zion.
Yeah, totally.
Like it's like, oh no, I gotta be really good. Actually, he dies. But
pretty
anyways,
soon after. So
Yeah.
hence, totally.
yeah, like it's again, these guys are like really good at the cinematic stuff, especially because they're just so good that like when they get a little bit better, you can do that. Like there's nothing that you're trying to fix with stratagems.
Mm-hmm.
unlike the Space Marines. I'm sorry that I'm shitting on Space Marines so much. I just played a lot of games with them this weekend.
Did you win any games this
I
weekend?
won nothing. We played a one-off D&D campaign. The first attack that landed on my guy critted him, put him twice below his HP, so I was just like turned into goo.
And it was rats.
And it was rats, so I was like,
The first mobs that showed
Yeah,
up.
it was the pile. It was a pile of rats.
I was the first person to see them.
Let them hit me. And
So, anyways, I went and started watching a Matrix movie, I think.
you fell asleep,
Yeah, probably.
and then you went to watch the Matrix movie. Oh my god, that was funny. All right, so
Not mad that happened, though.
If I really wanted to capitalize on this stratagem, I would probably go House Tyrannus and give all my knights a 6-up Feel No Pain, except against mortal wounds. That's the only thing that...
I feel no pain. Most feel no pain should be.
Totally. Yeah, I agree. But, such is the way of things.
Yeah, do you guys want to touch on a couple of the warlord traits? The traits for warlords?
Meow meow.
So I know Phil takes this one just because it's so good. So once per battle, you can reroll one hit roll, wound roll, damage roll, or saving throw made for your warlord, and you get an additional command point.
Yeah, so that's Cunning Commander. It's probably the best one in there.
It is really good.
I mean, Ion Bulwark is really good. That's where you get the 4-up invul.
Well, it's also good because you take the Exalted Court for one command point, and you make another knight a warlord, and they generate a warlord trait, and then you're immediately getting that command point back.
Yeah, so that's the way to do it. The one that you'll never see anyone take is Knight Seneschal, where you just add one attack. Like, go to hell. That's garbage. That is so shitty.
They tried.
Not very much.
I mean, come on, make it 2,
But I'm going to call out Hawkshroud again, because they're my guys! At the start of the battle round, nominate an enemy unit.
First battle round, but yeah, it's good.
At the start of the game. Reroll. No, you add 1 to hits for all your to hit rolls made with your warlord against that unit.
That's so good.
For
that needs to die.
For when you positively, absolutely have to kill every mother trucker in the room, or one particular mother trucker in that room.
Yep.
Jackie Brown.
I like the Adamantium Knight Warlord trait. Wound rolls of 1, 2, or 3 made against your warlord always fail.
That's Volker. That's House Volker.
That's gross.
That is gross.
You're like, Volcano Cannon, no.
That's such a bad feeling way to word that one too. It's not things can't wound you, anything that they fail.
Yeah. It can never be wounded on more than a 4-up would make way more sense.
Their stratagem is interesting too. For 1 command point, each hit roll of a 6 scores 2 hits instead of 1.
That's not bad.
Yeah. And just you pointing that one out is that's dirty. I wonder what their other stuff is. Went searching for it.
That is hateful.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just jump into relics just because I like them. Hawkshroud. Roll a d6 every time the bearer suffers a mortal wound in your opponent's psychic phase. On a 4-up, that wound is not lost. It's called Angel's Grace. Not good. Not great.
No, not good at all. Because there's some good relics in here. Some really good ones, like the Thunder of Voltaris. This is a rapid-fire battle cannon. Heavy 2d6, strength 9, AP -2, d3 damage. And when you're determining how many shots you fire, it's 3d6 and discard the lowest. That's super good. I like that a lot.
That's really good.
Trader's Pyre. It's that conflagration cannon, except you reroll all wounds, which is disgusting.
It's so good. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's the one you're gonna take.
That one and the relic. Oh, the big chain gun thing.
Oh,
for 2 more shots.
Endless Fury.
That's it.
Each unmodified hit roll of a 6. Unmodified. So, okay. It's 2 hits instead of 1.
I think we would also be doing a disservice if we didn't call it Call's Wrath, because it's made with call power. And
Say it again.
call power.
Call power.
It's a Questor Mechanicus only, and it replaces the Plasma Decimator. And it has a range of 48 inches. It's heavy 2d6, strength 8, AP minus 4, 2 damage. Or you can supercharge that mother, and it's strength 9, AP minus 4, 3 damage. So you are just firing a shit ton of thunder hammers at people. Now it does, when you supercharge it on rolls of 1, you suffer mortal wounds, blah blah blah. But I mean, like, this is just a really funny thing to do to people.
Yeah.
And it's 2d6, 2d6, heavy 2d6.
So it's the relic version. We've been talking about the relic flamer, the relic chain gun thingy, and this guy. And this is the relic plasma one for the new Dominus classmates.
And I like it. Like, it's gonna just flatten something.
Yeah.
But why is the Typhon so crappy?
Oh, it's okay, man.
Although they just like copied and pasted one of the Space Marine relics in here. I think it's the Space Marine relics. The Hunter's Eye.
What's that
Just
do?
don't get covered against this.
We stole this from a Space Marine chapter master.
Gives a flying frig about cover with, like, when most of your weapons are like -3, -4.
Yeah.
Like, go to...
Or your Imperial fists.
Honestly, listen, all of my games I played didn't matter because we play all line of sight blocky terrain. So it's just like, I either can shoot them or I can't shoot them.
We have a request to highlight the Wrath of Mars,
Wrath of Mars for you.
which is essentially, it's the relic thermal cannon that apparently has Melta at full range.
Oh no!
Yeah, that's nice.
There it is, Fury of Mars, not Wrath of Mars. My fault. So that is the House Tyrannus one, which I do like because that's the house I'd probably take if I was going Mechanicus. Yeah, I love it.
So we talked about free blades earlier. So free blades,
Yeah, this is a mechanic I wanted to make sure that we got.
it's a really cool mechanic. So instead of like, taking a full household, you're taking like one knight by himself. And if your army's battle forged, you can give one free blade model in each detachment qualities and burdens. So you choose a single quality or roll 2d6 to generate 2 qualities. And then you have to roll your burdens.
So your qualities are stuff like rerolling hit rolls of 1 against attacks made for units containing 10 or more units. So your guy is now like a tank hunter. Or Mysterious Guardian, where the free blade can perform heroic interventions as though they were a character, and at 6 inches as opposed to 3 inches. So it's like cool characterful things.
The burdens are fun because you either pick 2 or randomly roll 1.
Oh, I would always randomly roll.
No, you wouldn't.
Why?
Because you could get driven to slaughter, where you cannot fall back from combat, and your ballistic skill is now a 6.
Oh, no.
So here's the trick with the burdens though. You only suffer the burden at the start of each turn. You roll a leadership test on 2d6.
Right.
So you're not always suffering these.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you just rock up to this fight and you're like, oh shoot, I only hit on 6s now.
That is something that would happen at the worst possible moment.
To me,
I mean,
every game.
I would roll
Every game.
only if you're at Cottage Weekend.
Ugh. I'm playing fewer games next year.
You already played so few games.
Well, whatever. I had a great time. Yeah, so that's what's up. That's the Codex.
I'm always gonna talk about some tactical objectives. They got some fun ones. They got the Duel of Honor, which is an Imperial Knight character has to kill an enemy character in the fight phase, which is awesome.
Just go sit on it.
Yep.
Yeah, Thunderstrike Gauntlet.
Just crush him.
Your opponent must choose an Imperial Knights unit from your army that is currently on the battlefield. Score 1 victory point if the chosen unit controls an objective marker at the end of 2 consecutive turns.
That's a weird one.
Yeah.
Only
Well,
one.
no, that's a fun one because you draw that and you're like, hey, that one that you need up front,
I want him in back.
I want him out back. And he's like, no, I must stand here and defend the Holy Grail before that Nazi drinks from it. Right? They're knights.
Yep.
Sure. I'm surprised there was nothing about grails or
Choosing
ladies,
poorly.
or ladies in the lake in this entire codex. I'm kind of disappointed in that game.
Well, I mean, having a lady handing out swords, having a watery tart handing out swords is no way to pick a leader.
I mean, this Titan Killer one's pretty dirty too. You just go nuts on vehicles.
Go ham.
And Titanic models. Score 1 victory point for each vehicle or monster, and 3 victory points for each Titanic model, to a maximum of 6. So you just go nuts and get 6 victory points that turn.
If you kill 6 vehicles, yeah.
Yeah.
It can be done.
I mean, 2 Titanic models, you face another knight army,
Yeah.
draw this card, and you just are like, yeah, killed 2 of your knights. What's up? 6
Awesome.
victory points.
What up?
Cool. Yeah, that's the Imperial Knights Codex. I mean, it's fun. I really like our comp because it forces them to be alone. Because the one thing and some people have been complaining about this, but the one thing I don't like is the idea of using other factions as command point batteries, which would make these guys gross. If these guys had 12 command points plus to play with an Imperial Guard battalion or brigade,
These guys are already gross.
they're already gross. And like now you've got just bodies being able to stop deep strikers and stuff. So I don't think they need the help. They're solid. I mean, I think a well designed army could take them down, but again, that's list tailoring, which is not cool. Or just a random matchup in a tournament, right? Where you're like, oh, that's the rock to my scissors. There's nothing I can do about
Yeah,
that.
like, I could build a list that beats this pretty easily.
Yeah.
But, like, that's not how I build lists.
No.
My sister's army stands a good chance, and it's pretty much a take all covers list. But it's just like I just have advantage because
You have a lot of melta
I have
guns.
a lot of melta-guns.
There you
And
go.
if I would have, I think it's that they're just such a different meta that not a lot of people are really used to playing an all night army.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I would have played different and made a couple better moves, like I could have easily taken that game. Right?
Sure.
Which is what's cool about it. And so they don't need to get better. Like they're
No.
good.
Yeah.
Even
and
though
it's cool.
it is cool. And I was about to say, even though it would be fluffy for them to show up with an Imperial Guard regiment or some Space Marines and stuff, but they just don't need it in the game.
No. Anyways, that's Codex. Email money to our email address.
Send $1 to my address.
To Happy Dude. Alright. We'll come back with a fun time when we figure out what that's gonna be. Okay, thank you, bye-bye. And we're back for fun time. You know what's fun time? You know what's fun? Friggin' barrel-aged porters.
Dead later.
It's a double.
Also good.
It's a double, not a porter, but it has a zombie man holding wheat on the front.
What?
Yeah, 8.6%.
Oh, man, I gotta bike home.
Well, you're gonna have fun with that now. This is from Block 3. I don't think it's available on LCBO, but it's a brewery in Waterloo. And Emily and I picked this up when we were on our little trip there a couple months ago?
I guess so.
A month and a half ago. Yeah, it was good times. And so I wanted to share it with y'all.
Well, I do say I mightily appreciate that, Adam.
Oh, look at that color.
You know what'll go nice is one of Toronto. So we've been enjoying Toronto history lately, Nick and I and Adam,
For one podcast episode.
for one podcast.
Oh, shoot.
Get it!
Saved it.
Someone poorly. Sorry.
You pull bad.
You poor bad there. So Nick's gonna take us through one of my favorite events in Toronto history, called the Christie Pitts Race Riots.
Yeah. So
Have a sip of this. Tell me what you think.
Well, I'll tell you.
that's nice.
Smells good.
It's a double.
Ooh, molassesy. Oh man, you love those big flavors, hey?
I do.
Hey man.
That's what happens when you don't have a nose. You
Uh,
need it to punch you in
you
the
know
gut.
what? That actually makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
now that you say that. Adam here has just napalmed the inside of his sinus cavity with an airbrush and years of neglect and super glue.
Yeah, a lifetime of Warhammer.
I worry about him an awful lot. But as we were saying, Nick, tell us about the Christie Pitts rides. Christie Pitts is my favorite park in the city. It's where I go to hang out and read books.
So picture it. It's the height of the Great Depression. We're us. We're normal people. And like we went to Christie Pitts 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We were hanging out there, like watching some people play spike ball.
Yeah, I ate a shit ton of Popeye's chicken.
It was good. It was really good.
Friend of the podcast, Popeye's chicken.
But it's the height of the Depression. And in fact, a certain Bavarian or Austrian corporal was elected the High Chancellor of Germany in 1933. Some of you might know who he is. And kind of like today, when somebody like that gets elected to office, it tends to embolden a certain attitude in others. And it affected Toronto, because Toronto was still a very Protestant, white city. Wasn't as multicultural as it is today. And there's a lot of swastika clubs. Because people, for some reason, even in Canada, weren't a big fan of people of the Jewish faith. And there was a big Jewish community in Toronto. A lot of poor and working class coming over from Russia and the Ukraine, escaping those areas. And a lot of discrimination against the Jews in Toronto at the time. And they weren't allowed to go to Anglo beaches, so they'd get beat up by swastika clubs. And basically, one night, during a baseball game, a quarterfinal baseball game, between the Harvard Playground team, which was Jewish, Italian, and Ukrainian players, and St. Peter's team, a baseball team sponsored by a Catholic church at Bathurst and Bloor, some of the players on the other team decided to start waving a swastika around. And for some reason, the Italians, the Ukrainians, and all the other immigrants teamed up with the Jews to beat the crap out of the Nazis.
I love this story so much because, that there were just a bunch of people in the stands and they saw a swastika come out and someone was like, nope, not today. I've been dealing with this all day and I came to a baseball game to, chill out and not have to deal with Nazis. And just, everyone just being like, let's go fight them. Let's just go clear the benches and let's have a nice, good old-fashioned Nazi beat 'em up.
So here's from the actual...
I'm a Christian, but I'm not a pacifist.
Yeah,
Here's the actual article. While groups of Jewish and Gentile youths wielded fists and clubs in a series of violent scraps for possession of a white flag bearing a swastika symbol at Willowvale Park last night, now Christie Pitts Park, a crowd of more than 10,000 citizens, excited by cries of Heil Hitler, became suddenly a disorderly mob and surged wildly around the park and surrounding streets, trying to gain a view of the actual combatants, which soon developed into violence and intensity of racial feeling into one of the worst free-for-alls ever seen in this city. Scores were injured, many required medical attention, heads were opened, eyes blackened, and bodies thumped and battered as literally dozens of persons, young or old, many of them non-combatant spectators, were injured more or less seriously by a variety of ugly weapons in the hand of wide-eyed and irresponsible hoodlums, both Jewish and Gentile.
you know what?
I just love how they use the word Gentile.
Yeah, that there's
You mean non-Mormons?
But how many hats were destroyed?
27.
27 hats?
27 men were without hats
Oh, good God.
At the end or at the beginning?
at the end.
But it's just such, I really, I hope if I'm ever in the situation where I have to clear a bench to go fight Nazis, that I'm there fighting Nazis. Because I think it's not a crazy political stance to take that Nazis are bad, and I'm not super pumped that they're back. And I have to talk to them. So there you go. That's the only time we'll ever get political. Not true.
Not true.
we accidentally get political all the time.
But it is interesting because just going to Christie Pitts, you can kind of see the history come alive, because you can see the baseball diamonds are there. There are these steep hills surrounding the entire park, and you can just see it's August. It's the height of the summer. It's hot. It's sweaty. Probably a full moon. And there's just all these people on the stands because there's no TV. There's no porn. There's no Netflix. There's no people gotta go and
Yeah.
watch baseball.
No one like sees something they don't like and they're like, oh, I'm gonna go on my phone. It's like, I'm just gonna stare at that flag and get madder and madder.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, they're just like they portray it as like everybody's trying to gain possession of the flag. I think is how you read it. I'm like, you probably could have said that better. Because like they don't want it for the sake of wanting the flag.
they want them to not have it.
That's it. Yeah.
Like, it's not like, sweet, now we're the swastika club. It's like, no, this thing needs to go in the trash.
First of all, you're flying it backwards. It's a Hindu power wheel, okay? It's not.
Oh, God.
Said no Nazi ever.
Very few of them, yeah. So anyways,
Well, was that fun?
I love a story where a Nazi gets fighted.
Somebody said it was outstanding already, so there you go.
Yep. So anyways, do your part. Fight a Nazi.
I got way more Toronto history stories, too. I've got, like, the tunnel person.
Oh, you told me that
The
one.
tunnel person's really weird. There's the Junction local option riot.
Yep.
We love drinking. We love riots here in Toronto.
Well, the Junction's weird to begin with because you couldn't get booze for a long time.
For like 100 years.
That's a stupid amount of time not to be able to drink. I know. Like, I resent the fact that I can't get a cocktail at 10 o'clock.
You have to make it yourself.
Yeah. Oh, it's never a good look when you're out for brunch and you're like, yeah, I'll have a salty dog. And they're like, dude, it's too early for that. And I'm like, I feel like I'm the judge of that.
True, right?
Yeah, like, I don't want 10.
Yeah.
I just want a friggin' cocktail.
Where have you been refused a cocktail?
White Brick Kitchen.
At what time?
Like,
10.
10. Because I like to beat the lines. And then I get to brunch. And then I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll have a drink. And they're like, it's too early.
11. You gotta wait till 11.
Really?
Haven't you ever tried this before?
Yeah, well, I shouldn't say it on a podcast, but I've been to a couple restaurants at like 9 or 10 in the morning where I've been able to get a Caesar.
Oops.
Yeah, well, I mean, tell me where they are.
I mean, they're just fighting prohibition by themselves. I mean, that is the Junction. There's a history of fighting prohibition.
Prohibition's like one of the other things I'll fight.
Carry a
Beat
nation.
people up for.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for tuning in.
That was a fun time. All right.
Bye.
We'll have better audio quality next time. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.